Okay, let's talk about Colonial One. Colonial One is it's up here. It's the president's ship. Okay, these three locations, and it's to be honest, there's really no reason for somebody to be up on Colonial One unless they're the president. So, I mean, the press room can be helpful because with one action you get to draw two politics cards. Okay, so that could help anybody. And especially if your president turns out to be a Cylon and you lose him, and so you're like, man, we need more yellow cards for skill checks. Then you might have somebody up there drawing yellow cards on their turn because with an XO they could draw four yellow cards, which is kind of cool. It's like a whole extra turn almost of cards. Um, so that's about the only location that's helpful to people who are not the president. But it's really, I mean, if you've got the president up here, and the fact that the matter is, to go back and forth between the two ships, you have to discard a skill card. And that's on purpose because they don't want people just bouncing back and forth. So your president can, for the most part, handle everything, and he's usually just going to be on these two locations. Let's talk about administration. Administration is used to change uh, presidents, and it's not hard. Administration is only a 5 on the skill check. So you do a skill check of 5, green, yellow. It's a very easy skill check, and if you've got Zarek, it's ridiculously easy because he can lower it by 2 to make it a 3. I mean, Zarek could pass it by himself if people weren't fighting against him. So, um, so that it's really easy to change presidents. It does cost an action. Um, and of course, the president can fight against you, but for the most part, the president is going to be drawing yellow and green cards. So they're not going to have the cards to fight against you. Like Rosalind, all her cards are yellow and green. So any card that she put into the skill check would help the skill check. So if you go up there, and that's one of the reasons why Rosalind is not a very strong president. She can't defend herself if Cylons try to take the presidency from her. But of course, her best play is to actually give up the presidency early on, as soon as she can figure out someone she can trust. But I digress. So that's administration and the press room. The president's office, though, and this is the one I want to spend most of my time talking about. So the president's office is where the president generally is camped out. And what you can do there is you can draw. You can either draw 2 quorum cards, or you can draw a quorum card and you can play a quorum card. All right, what the heck is a quorum card? You know what? Let me just show you some quorum cards here. So let's go over here and pull up some quorum cards real quick. Sorry about the slowness of this. I hadn't actually planned this part out. Okay, so here's some quorum cards. And they do lots of different things. This is one of the reasons why the presidency is generally, it's better if you don't try to go after being president unless you're a more experienced player, because you don't always know when and what quorum cards, when you need to be drawing quorum cards, because if you've played Battlestar Galactica a few times, you know what's in the quorum deck, and you're like, oh, you know what, we're in this situation. If I draw a bunch of quorum cards, there's a good chance that I could get whatever I need. And but if you don't, if you haven't played a few times, and you won't know, oh, there's a quorum card in there that'll help with this situation. Or you might start drawing quorum cards because you think they might be helpful, and there might actually not be anything, and they're helpful because you just don't know the quorum deck. But anyway, you can go through the images and take a look at them and try to just get a feel for them. So they let you do things like, in this case, you draw a skill card, and then when a player activates administration and chooses a president, or chooses the president's other quarters, you can actually increase the difficulty by 2. So in other words, basically this helps defend your presidency, right? And it gives you a skill card, right? So it's kind of a shady thing. People don't trust the president as much when he plays this card, but it does make him stronger, and it does protect him from silence. So it's not a bad card to play. Arrest order, throw someone in the brig. That's awesome. Assign arbitrator. Okay, so when somebody uses Admiral's quarters, this player can discard the card to reduce or increase the difficulty by 3. Okay, so let's, say you had this in play with Starbuck. Okay, so Admiral's quarters is a 7, right, to throw someone in the brig, right? Starbuck, you can, when you try to target Starbuck with Admiral's quarters, she is, because she's insubordinate, she's easier to throw in the brig. So her difficulty is 4. She automatically reduces it by 3. But wait, let's say Ty is activating Admiral's quarters. He is allowed to reduce the difficulty by 3, right? So if Ty is trying to throw Starbuck in the brig, it's only a 1. But let's say that Ty is the arbitrator. That gets the difficulty down to literally a -2. Now, I don't think you can actually have a negative difficulty, so I guess it would just be a 0. But basically, it would pretty much auto pass. Well, I guess you could have a negative difficulty, but yeah, it's going to be almost impossible for this person to stay out of the brig. So anyway, so there's lots of cards like that. There are several in here. The most common card is Inspirational Speech. There are quite a few of these, and that's the other thing is, there's in the list of cards, there's only one of each. Obviously I didn't put one in there for every instance of the card that's in the deck. Like there's 4 inspirational speeches that are in the quorum deck. So just knowing like, oh, well, the most likely, of all the cards that I'm likely to draw, inspirational speech is one of the most likely ones. And I can roll a die, and if it's 6 or higher, I gain a morale. So anyway, with a strategic planning, then this is actually a pretty decent card. Okay, I'm likely to raise morale. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so anyway, those are the quorum cards. They do lots of different things. Okay, and that's what the XO wants to, or the president wants to do. He wants to come over here. He wants to sit on the president's office. Okay, and just stay there. On the president's turn, he wants to XO somebody else so they can get 2 turns, and then when on someone else's turn, he wants to get XO'd, or receive an executive orders, so that he gets 2 turns, 2 actions, right? Not 2 turns, 2 actions, so that he gets to draw 4 quorum cards at a time, right? So he'd be able to activate the president's office twice, or he could draw 2 quorum cards and play 2 quorum cards. So anyway, and he just holds those cards in his hand for when he needs them. Okay, so anyway, again, they're super cool. It's fun. Again, I like playing the president. I actually like playing the president, the pilot, or the admiral. They're all fun. But anyway, that's kind of the way, that's your strategy as president. Now, if you're Rosalind, you can't do this, because Rosalind, if she activates the president's office, she has to discard 2 skill cards. Okay, well, that means, you only draw 5 per turn, right? So already she's basically, if she activates this president's office on her turn, she's gonna discard 2 skill cards, so that she only got 3 skill cards that turn. But if she discards it when she gets an executive orders from somebody else, then if she activates it twice, that's 4 skill cards she has to get rid of. There's so many times when she just can't activate the president's office because she doesn't have enough skill cards, or when she doesn't have skill cards because to help out with any skill checks or anything, because she's been activating the president's office. So it's really hard to play Rosalind, and she honestly is a really weak president, but she's super strong in other areas. All right, so that's it for Colonial One. And we'll go ahead and move on to the Cylon locations, and then I think we'll be pretty much done. We might talk about a few little random things like raptors. I think that's probably, yeah. We'll do raptors, and then we'll talk about Cylon locations and choosing destinations. So we'll do that next.